What did the players have to say when they met with the media? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On dropped their top 100 college football players for 2025. They have a great episode breaking all that down over on the Locked On channel, Locked On Today, Locked On Sports channel. Can't remember what it's called now. Terrible advertising. My apologies to our guy, Peter Bukowski, that runs that. But we'll discuss where Oklahoma Sooners landed on that coming up here in the third segment. But Jay, what stood out to you most about what the players had to say on Wednesday?
Jaydn Ott said that he came to Oklahoma over Georgia. Because of John Mateer.
Yep.
That to me was a very interesting statement, right? You know, SEC ball, he was going to come play in the ACC regardless. Again, he had Oklahoma and he had Georgia on his radar, but getting to play with John Mateer, I think that they have something good going on. This offense is very familiar. I played against Arbuckle and his offense at Wazoo when I was at Cal. I was just familiar with what was going on. So I thought it was a good place. So he talked it up about going to play with John Mateer, play with Ben Arbuckle, seeing each other. And Ben Arbuckle even talked about Jaydn Ott as well. He talked about how he kicked our tail. Basically what he said. So and now he's got one of the best backs. And dude, Ott looks huge. It's like a big dude. I am stoked on that. So we were able to win that battle with Georgia because truth be told, Georgia's got some really young backs. And people don't know. We don't really know who Georgia. I mean, Nate Frazier's probably going to be starting back, but we don't know much about Georgia's back. So having a player like Ott would have been fantastic for the system that Georgia's putting together. Ott saw what John Mateer is and the opportunities like, I'd rather play with that dude. And it's no shade against anybody else there, but he knows that the capabilities of John Mateer and the system that Ben Arbuckle puts together, it's going to make life easy for him. And I loved that quote. He also said that they're getting a little chippy in practice, and he likes that. The chippiness is probably something we didn't hear it last year, and I'm loving that we're hearing it this year.
We heard all offseason, at least at SEC Media Days, about how much the offense talks. As a defender, you don't want your offense talking because that means they're beating you and they're telling you all about it. One of my favorite training camp videos of whether it's NFL or high school or college is Des Bryant catching a ball in Dallas Cowboys training camp and then pointing at every single defensive back on the field you can't guard me, you can't guard me, you can't guard me. And it sounds like John Mateer's a talker. Ben Arbuckle is also a talker, and I'm sure that is creating an environment in which the defense is getting a little pissed off, and that's okay. That's a good thing. You want your defense a little bit upset and irritated, playing with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because things aren't going as easy for them this fall camp, or at least this off season, as maybe they were going last year. So they're getting tested. But Ben Arbuckle, he mentioned what the defense was doing for the offense because he even said that those guys are just a bunch of dudes. I was really encouraged by what Jacob Sexton had to say about, being able to settle in at left tackle. That dude has had such a roller coaster ride in his development, from getting an opportunity to play in the Cheez-It Bowl to getting hurt to, playing right tackle to playing guard, now back to tackle. He's had a whole offseason at tackle, and I think that's going to work wonders for his development this year.
No, I totally agree. He looks like he's focused and he's ready to all he needs to do is be in one spot, and I think he'll be fine. I know, I think it was Gabe Eichert had mentioned it and said that he thinks that he'd be a lot more effective at guard instead of at tackle, which I could totally understand, just because of the way he moves. And that's what Gabe Eichert was saying, a former, All-American offensive lineman. But Sexton feels more comfortable for himself at tackle, and I think that he'll be fine there. And, the biggest issue with him is we just haven't seen him fully healthy. Mm-hmm. He tore his ACL right before the Florida State game, which sucked. You want to see him as a true freshman, but you didn't get to see it. And then it took him the entire year to get healthy. He played a little bit when Guyton went down, and then you got him a little bit last season where He was up and down with injury. You had to play him at guard because of other injuries, and so you had to move him around. So this year, it feels like he has an opportunity to actually stay in one spot. We've got at least 2, if not 3 left guards that we feel comfortable with because people have been in the system for a minimum. Well, they've been with Bill Beatonbow for a minimum of a year. And this type of system that we're going to play in is something Bill Beatonbow is used to. He's been comfortable playing in a mixture air raid type of offense. So we know there's going to be a heavy run. And this line is ready to push people around. And because of that, and the comfort they have, their comfort in pushing people around in the run game is the fact that Troy Everett said it. This is the best D-line in the country.
Yeah, and if they can make things happen against this group, then they're going to be able to make some things happen in the season. And I think that's
sharpens iron.
Yeah. And that's exciting, man. Like the give and take, the back and forth that we're hearing has taken place this offseason. Hopefully it continues into fall camp, but that's an encouraging part of the development of this team and why the coaches might feel good about it is, hey, it's not one side of the ball dominating the other. Nobody's having to dumb anything down or make anything more vanilla for one side or the other. They're able to throw the kitchen sink and team is responding, whether it's the defense responding to giving up a big play or the offense responding to a defensive stop. Like it's a back and forth battle. And that's encouraging. Now it just has to translate and transition to the regular season to where they go and they put up numbers against Michigan and Auburn and Texas to get Oklahoma out to a 5, maybe 6-0 start.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, we go into Red River with that good of a record. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be losing their minds. And so I think that we have the roster to do it. I think the Michigan game is going to be a great test for us. And it'd be a great way to understand and just see how good this, not only this offensive line, but this defensive line is. If this defensive line can go out there and push around a Sharon Moore coached offensive line, I think that we have placed ourselves in a situation where we'll be able to probably push around anybody. I mean, Sharon Moore has done a fantastic job with his lines over the last few years. He's won some Joe Moore awards, and we've seen what he did to teams like he beat Alabama 2 years in a row, right? So we know that they have the bodies and the capabilities, and that's their focus. It's always been physicality. That's what we need to go out there and take advantage of. And if we can show it by pushing them around, we've got a future in front of us.
I'm excited, man. But I'm also excited to see this team just go prove it, because so much of it is talk right now. It's, hey, we're optimistic. We feel good about it. At the same time, once we see it, then we'll know. Like if they can go and they can have a really strong rushing attack against a Michigan team, or they can slow down that Michigan offense that wants to run the football, you'll know that your team is SEC ready.
Yes.
Because that's about as good of a test as you're going to get outside of the SEC is Michigan. Even with the true freshman quarterback, even with, graduating a bunch of guys to the NFL, that's a team that if anybody outside of the SEC resembles an SEC type squad, it's a Michigan team.
I can totally see that. Michigan, Ohio State probably are the two there that we can definitely say feels a good resemblance. I mean, it's your top heavy teams that usually are the ones that feel more like SEC teams, and they're usually the ones, the better ones. And so I know that, people don't like the homerism of that, but hey, as a long-standing member of the SEC, this is all we've seen for our entire time that we've ever been here. It's
right.
Seeing the greatness of our opposing squads, mm-hmm. and we understand how to get competitive. We just got to be healthy when we do it, and this year we will be, John. So I don't care what anybody. This is our year. I'm going to keep hitting that drum hardcore.
Only one way to go, and that's up. Who placed inside the Locked On Top 100 college football players for 2025? Let's discuss that next. Who was slighted and are we still really underrated? Coming up here on Locked On soon.